I've had the good fortune and pleasure of being friends with people of all ages throughout my life. And Michele Tamaren, who is here with me today, has written a book that focuses on this theme. It's called Extraordinary, an End-of-Life Tale Without End. And her co-author, Michael Wittner, was actually 15 when he wrote this. And the story is partially about the relationship between Michael and your stepfather. So
that's right.
Thank you for having me, and can you give me a little
pleasure.
snippet of all the generational pieces that play out in the book?
Oh, yes. Michael came into my dad's life when my father was in the nursing home, and he had been there only 4 months. He entered just weeks after my mom passed away and after he himself had a stroke. And he had lost his will to live. He was then 93 years old.
Wow.
And a young boy, 12 years old, came into my dad's room, Michael Wittner. And Michael came as a student who was fulfilling a service learning assignment. He was to be there just one time and write a paper.
Right.
And the two of them met, and once was not enough. They literally fell in love with each other.
That's sweet.
They became very best of friends, an 80-year age difference.
Wow.
And Michael decided on his own to return every week to be with my dad for the rest of my father's life, which was another full year.
Wow. How can intergenerational friendships be mutually beneficial? I'm imagining that both Herman and Michael had a great benefit from their relationship together.
Both of them grew. They sat together every week and they shared their stories. And Michael shared his dreams. And my dad shared with Mike his life experiences and his longings as a youth. And most of all, they listened. They listened deeply to each other.
How did they find experiences or topics that they were both interested in, since they had such a big difference in their age?
Well, it turned out they both loved art. They both loved to draw and to create. And sometimes they would sit and do that together. And Michael talks about the fact that when he came in, he had some stereotypes about old people. He figured they all loved to play cards. Well, my dad didn't. So what they did both love to do was talk about politics.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. And sometimes Michael would come in and play the piano for my father. And they would go outside together. He would wheel my dad out and they would watch the birds together.
Wow.
And they would talk and laugh, and sometimes Michael would read to my dad stories that he wrote for school.
Neat. What happened after your stepfather passed on? Did their relationship change or continue, or how did that really affect Michael?
The relationship prior to my dad's passing continued to grow, and Michael and his father, Ben, decided to make a movie about my father's life. So for 6 months, with my dad, they created a film which was called A Mensch and More. And Mensch in Yiddish means a really good, kind person. The film had a premiere. My dad was there. And the response was incredible. The two of them were both invited to be on television and radio together, to be interviewed about the film, which then went on to win state and regional awards. 2 weeks after the premiere of the film, my dad passed away peacefully. Michael missed my father so very, very much. And truly, it was because of our shared grief that we decided to write this book. And we have talked often about signs that we've been receiving from Herman since his passing. But in reality, Michael tells me he thinks about how would Herman advise him given major life decisions. He's now 22 years old.
Right.
He still reflects on the teachings.
Wow. I got goosebumps when you just told me all that story.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing a little bit of your story. I feel honored to have you as one of my friends and to hear all your wisdom.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Megan.
You can find out more about Extraordinary and the tales of Herman and Michael in her book, Her website is micheletamaren.com, and the book is also available at local bookstores and on Amazon. Thanks for joining us on Health and Wellness.